World War One. Meet Tim, this guy. Tim wanted to know more about the First World War, so he went onto the internet and searched up World War One, what happened, but you should not have done that. If you want to know more about the First World War, simply watch this video, and then you will be able to find out more. The basics. It all started on the 28th of July 1914 and ended on the 11th of November 1918. The Battle of the Somme, which we'll study later, was the worst loss of soldiers in British military history. Fact. We are now going to look at empires, alliance, arms race, and the spark which caused the war to start. Empires. What is an empire? Basically, an empire is a group or collection of countries controlled by one country, so like the Russian Empire, etc. Why did this cause the war, I hear you say? Because when Africa was discovered, Germany didn't feel like it had the best lands, and it became jealousy, and jealousy really leads to bad things. Arms race. Here is a country represented by this man, and here's another country. Basically, the two countries compete to get the best military possible. And there is a picture, which will come up, there you go, and it shows that Germany had the best infantry where we didn't, and countries pushed to get the best military. Alliances. You had Britain, France, Russia, Germany, Austria, Italy. So that was basically the Triple Entente versus the Triple Alliance. And it was from all this alliance and treaty signings and everything that people became worried that there was actually going to be a war. The spark. Basically, the spark was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, who was the heir to the Austrian throne. And he got killed by Gavrilo Princip, this guy, who shot him and his wife because he was part of the Black Hand in Serbia, and Austria didn't like him, so they beat him up. Like that. The Great War. Basically, in order to win the war, Britain needed more men, so Britain had to recruit. And why did men actually want to sign up to the war? I know I wouldn't. Men signed up due to propaganda posters and the fact that living conditions were better, so they fought. The trenches. As you can see from the circle, that circle's the support trenches with all the artillery and the big guns and all the support, basically. And then now it's circled the front line where you'd spend 2 weeks on a rotation sort of thing. It's horrible, and that's where all the splatterings. Soldiers would sing to entertain themselves, and they also played cards and stuff. Better living conditions, you wish. Correct. Living conditions were worse. Fact. The trenches were horrible places to live because of trench foot, rat infestation, dead people. Trench foot was a horrible disease, you do not want it. Rat infestation, loads of rat running around, disgusting, give you germs, dead people, generally gross, scary. Going OTT. Going OTT was the most terrifying experience that a soldier could face. When at the front line, going OTT was when you would have to climb out of the trenches and walk across no man's land to fight the enemy trench, hoping to capture it and advance. Normally you would walk, not run, so ignore this bit. Stalemate. What is stalemate exactly? Well, stalemate is basically when the British couldn't advance anymore and the Germans wouldn't retreat, so the two sides are stuck in their own trenches. Not fun. Many people thought the war would be over by Christmas. Guess what? They were wrong. Christmas. Christmas equals ceasefire. Ceasefire equals happiness, joy, fun, celebration, and general fun and happiness. During the ceasefire, both sides left their trenches, joined in no man's land, buried the dead, and said prayers in both German and English. So, are you ready to learn? I hope so, because let's get started. So what exactly was the Battle of the Somme? Any ideas, Tim? Light bulb. Was it a battle which took place next to the River Somme? You're correct, but you're missing key information. It took place on the 1st of July 1916 and ended on the 18th of November 1916. The most gigantic, tenuous, grim, fertile, and bloody fight ever fought in the history of war. This was because the idea was to bombard the Germans and then to walk across no man's land and take over the trench, just like that. Haig, who was in charge, said, "You will be able to walk over the top with a walking stick, you will not need rifles, you will find the Germans all dead, not even a rat will have survived." His own words there. But The plan didn't work, as the Germans built their trenches deeper so they could survive the impact of the bombs. Also, the quality of the bombs weren't very good, and finally the Germans had machine guns, so when the British walked over in straight lines, it was easy to kill them like that. Again, not very good. Lines led by donkeys. The British Army were referred to as lines led by donkeys. Lion equals soldier, as you can see, and then that meant donkey equals Haig and generals. The generals killed thousands of soldiers due to their stupid tactics. That's fact. Haig made the soldiers go onto no man's land, walk across, while the Germans had machine guns, obviously killed the soldiers. The man represents German, and then the soldiers are the lions, so obviously they get killed. This is just... Haig finally called off the battle. Death toll equals 1,088,907. That includes Germans. What the hell does that matter? There are plenty more men in Britain. That was a quote from one of Haig's generals in 1915 when told Britain had lost 60,000 soldiers. Not good. There are some stats for you. But, on the other hand, Haig had to do what a general had to do in order to win the war, which he did. Haig was well suited to the job, as in his biography it stated while there he worked his way through the ranks, he experienced active service in several conflicts around the world. He served under Lord Kitchener, and Haig became Major General. He was the youngest officer of that rank. So basically Haig had lots of experience, so therefore he knew what he was doing, and that it would involve men dying, but then he would win the war in the end. Haig was severely criticised for his conduct of the Battle of the Somme in 1916 by people, Prime Minister Lloyd George. His nickname was Butcher of the Somme. Was the English army lions led by donkeys or not? There is evidence for both sides, so what's the answer? This, obviously Tim is really annoyed. Do not go and smash a computer screen against your head. It will not help you. Let your class have a discussion while I wait. Okay, I'm bored of waiting. There is a lot more evidence for them being lions led by donkeys than against, as you can see. Yes, no, 4-1. Nice and easy. So let's move on to the conclusion. Thumbs up. So we know there is more evidence for the statement lions led by donkeys. So the army was known as lions led by donkeys because the generals never went near the front line. They stayed really far back. Also, their tactics were very stupid. A quote was, "My God, did we really send those men to fight that?" Well, there you have it. Thank you for watching. We hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned more about the First World War and the Battle of the Somme. That's why you are actually watching these videos. Goodbye from us. Thank you for watching. See ya.